there's a lot of interesting people around here.
Yeah. Well, that's
So
kind
that's
of that's kind of inevitably how you were going to come about as well, because, well, I mean, yeah. Thanks for coming into your own gym.
You're very welcome.
But like everybody that I've talked to before, and everybody that lots of people that I plan on talking to as well. I've got a list of people. The majority of them are from results or linked to results in some way. And I think that speaks for the type of people that are here as well, and that's just people that know that have got some kind of story that's worth listening to.
Yeah, well, and that's, you know, it is the environment that you're in.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're going to have more exposure to that. You know, without being exposed to multiple different gyms and things like that, especially my experience is pretty limited to results.
Yeah.
So it's not, I don't have a good bit of feedback, but yeah, there's a lot of interesting people.
Yeah. Everybody's got a reason, a story, and like super motivated people in this gym as well. Like everybody's driven, and I think that's a weird one seeing, because I do have experience with other gyms.
Yeah.
And the contrast of people is like black and white. It's like unreal. And I've been preaching this gym since I started. 3 years ago? I think I was a member here.
Yeah.
I've been preaching to everyone, even whilst I was working at other gyms. I'm like, this is the place to be if you want to make stuff happen.
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing I've always been big on is results is its own thing. You know, and that's changed over time. And everyone's got their own like dynamic they're going through at whatever time, whatever they're doing. And if results environment fits that at that time, then they're more than welcome to drift in and out.
Yeah.
Even with like, you know, people like yourself working, I think it's tempting to be like, oh, I really like this. I want to start working here straight away.
Yeah.
But it is not a conventional environment to work in. And it's hard to, you know, balance that up without getting experience elsewhere.
Yeah, that's true. That was certainly my experience as well. But it's working out now. So I mean, that's the space I've put myself in. That's where people recognise me from, and it's working.
Yeah, no, good. I'm glad it's. Like, so how long is that now?
I was a member for the last 3 years. I think I've been PTing out here for about a year now.
Yeah, so I was about to say it's probably coming on a year, is it?
Yeah, so I come over with quite a few clients, and then they kind of dropped off. That was partly my own fault, just getting too comfortable, because you don't have the same kind of like loads of newbies coming in kind of thing. It's not that same kind of place.
We're not a high turnover gym,
Yeah.
so that's the big difference, I think, from a PT's point of view, or just in general. Again, looking from sitting on the outside, looking into other gyms, it's the frequency of turnover is huge. So it's not you know, we're not getting like massive amounts of turnover every month, people leaving, new people. You know, we've got like a steady growth rate. And people filter in at like what I think is quite like a good level to have people filtering in it. Rather than having these like mass influxes of
randoms.
Well, just mass influxes of new people. Whether like it doesn't matter who they are, like that's always going to cause like a bit of a friction, no matter what the scale of the environment that you're working on. People filter in, but we don't have a huge drop-off rate. Whereas I think a lot of gyms have like a massive amount of turnover, and they also attract people who have never been to the gym before, or like are not serious. Sounds bad, but like not. It's not a lifestyle for them. It's like a thing. They're like, okay, I need to develop these habits, or they're struggling to get into it.
Yeah, I think it's easy to dip in and out of those kind of gyms as well, because the price is so low, because they count on having that high turnover of people.
Yeah, that's the business model, right?
Yeah, and they just get loads of people, especially like the January, like the new starts, like the New Year, New Me stuff, and they put on loads of promo stuff, and it's cheap. It's like I describe it as a Netflix subscription. You forget it's even there.
Yeah, well, that is the model, right? I don't know if you've seen those articles kicking around over the last couple of months about how, especially Gen Z, are actually using the membership way more than so. Like Pure Gym, I think Planet Fitness in America, and there's a couple of other these like model type gyms. So we're run as businesses of like having a mass subscription amount, and then banking on like a tiny percentage of people actually using the gym. Now people are, I think maybe in post-COVID, people are actually using the gyms way more it's kind of causing issues with their model because like they've only got
There's
X
too
amount of
many
size.
people, yeah.
There's too many people using the gym, which is very inconvenient.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's starting to cause a attrition I think it's great because the more people that have access at a low level to gyms like Pure Gym or those like budget level gyms, the more people that use them, the more people that get into training and have access to exercise and training, then that allows like independent gyms like myself and like in yourself as well, independent trainers, to then have people progress through that.
Yeah, to it to the next level.
If the only, for years, the only entry point was like your local council gym or like independent gym, and there was like a massive gulf of difference between. But there's now like a whole spectrum you can walk through. So hopefully it brings, it spreads it out where more people get better choice and selection in it, and it helps the gym market, the free market choice, because you're not like, well, it's either local leisure centre or like hardcore bodybuilding gym with like nothing in the middle.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a misconception about results as well. It's still that, because it was something before you've changed it into what it was.
Yeah, so I'm like the fifth owner.
Oh really?
Yeah, so it was Gavin Laird opened Results in 2001.
Right.
He then moved up to Inverness and opened Forge.
Okay.
Forge Gym. I think Gavin now spends most of his time designing gym equipment. He was like one of the lead designers for Primal for a while.
Right.
And like GLS strength is a whole thing. So he actually opened Results. Cool. And then passed to Graham Park.
Right.
And that's like the main era I think a lot of people remember Results from, because it was like that's when I started training there when I was like 16. It's like the early days of YouTube. I think if you still go on YouTube and search Results Gym, like that's the kind of stuff that comes up. Right. If that's still there. And like Graham, it was like a hardcore bodybuilding gym with a bit of strongman. Right. And it was that for a long time. Yeah. And then Austin and Ivana took over and moved the gym to South College Street. Right. Okay. And I helped them with that. Yeah. And like kind of worked for them that time, and then me and Stacey bought the gym out from. Yeah.
So what led to that? Why did you buy the gym over there? Was that all something that you wanted to do, or?
I kind of like made the joke. It was kind of a hobby that got out of hand. Really. Okay. Yeah. It's not something I ever saw myself doing. Yeah. Just the opportunity arose. Well, the opportunity kind of came up, and a few opportunities for me had kind of closed off. Yeah. Or I wasn't sure what I was wanting to do with myself. Yeah. Because my plan had always been, so I tried to join the army when I was 16. Yeah. And then they sent me to do pilot testing, put me on a military scholarship. Right. So I went back to school, went to university on this like scholarship thing. And at the time I was like, I'm going to qualify for the Commonwealth Games of weightlifting. And like tried to push really hard for that. Took a year out at the back end of my university degree. Yeah. Which is in politics and international relations, not anything sport related. Right, okay. At all, with history at the same time. So I took a year out to try and qualify for the Commonwealth Games. Trashed myself in the process. Really? Yeah. Like just not, didn't have access to any level of coaching. Yeah. Was just trying to push, like in way too short a time span. Okay, without any like real guidance apart from anyone from my old weightlifting coach Stuart, who's great. But I kept doing stupid stuff. And getting medically discharged because I wasn't able to pass the fitness assessments because I tore my iliopsoas tendon. Right. And then I dislocated my shoulder. And it was just an absolute nightmare. So I was kind of on the back end of that. Didn't know what I was doing. I'd spent years in the gym trying to make it work. Austin and Ivana were struggling with it a little bit because Austin had to go work offshore. Yeah. Again, and it kind of came up. It was like a good opportunity to make sure the gym survived and take it somewhere different. Cool. Rather than like a life plan. Yeah, and it just grew from there. Yeah. So when you took it over, is this? I mean, it is quite a ways away. But when was that? 2019. So we started like me and Stacey kind of took over running the gym in like May 2019, and then everything changed hands officially in August 2019.
Right. Okay. And then what did you have plans for it? Was there a vision for it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd helped Austin and Bonner run the gym on and off for quite a few years at that point.
Yeah.
And the gym needed a decent amount of investment put into it. That was where we were at, right? Like things had moved a lot in the kind of time span. We needed more equipment. So that was the whole thing, was to try and create a space that fitted the needs of people. And so that's what we did. We kind of invested quite heavily in.
Yeah. I mean, I was just looking back, like way down
the photos are good, right?
Yeah, like wow, what a difference. He's done quite a lot right at the start.
Yeah.
Like just completely changed it, all the new machines and everything.
Yeah, so we fully overhauled the gym in August 2019.
Yeah.
Basically bought a heap of stuff from Primal Strength, got it all fitted, filled the gym with new kit.
Yeah.
And that went really well until we got shut in March.
For COVID,
The following year, which was not ideal.
Massive knock on. Yeah.
Yeah, that was rough, like real rough.
Yeah.
Luckily at that point, me and Stacey had not moved to the gym being our like full-time thing.
Okay.
I was still working in security at that point. Actually, it was like, for Stacey, it was a full-time gig, right? She was a full-time PT.
Yeah.
She didn't work outside the gym. I had full-time employment outside the gym and still did at that point.
Okay.
And luckily I was able to continue some form of that throughout COVID. Otherwise, the gym would have been gone.
Non-existent, yeah. Wow. That's mad. And then it's like just, I mean, that's such a short time period. I mean, I come in 3 years ago and it's expanded so much since then. That's, what would that be? Maths is gone. That would have been only, a year after COVID when you started upgrading. In fact, it was a year after COVID that the track got replaced.
Yeah, so basically what happened, time frame wise, so 2020 we were shut from March until mid-August. We also got flooded fully 10 days before we were due to open. You remember the train crash in Stonehaven?
Yeah.
So that morning the gym flooded, the whole Psychology Street flooded, mainly because the council hadn't maintained the drainage system.
Right, okay.
Despite what anyone else has said, all the drains outside the gym were fully silted up, and the drainage system was not maintained. The volume of water came down, backfilled all the drains, and went into. We were the last unit on South College Street that got flooded. But it was 10 days before we were due to reopen after being shut for months. So that was a massive stress. And then we got shut again. In the Boxing Day? That year till April. And then what was that? So it was 22. 22. So that was a tough period. And then basically in that time, we'd evaluated everything, and Stacey's online coaching had taken off massively. So we decided the gym, there just wasn't enough in the gym to make it worth it for both of us.
Okay.
So I made Stacey an offer, and the gym became fully mine. She's still around and still working in and out the gym, things like that. But it just didn't make sense for the both of us to do it after COVID. And with her online stuff taking off massively, it made sense for her to put her kind of eggs in that basket. So I took over the gym myself at 22, 23, whatever it was. And I was like, right, I'm going to give this a year to see if I can turn it around after COVID. And then started reinvesting and changing the AstroTrack and bits and pieces here and there, and trying to get it up to, keep moving forward with it. And not just stagnate.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that attracts me to it as well, is all the commercial gyms and that we talked about, they're just wanting to make money, and the reinvestment is next to nothing. They get allowances for a month, and it's nothing. It's next to nothing for the amount of people that've got in there and the size of the gym. That's no money, and they spend most of it just replacing stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's the biggest thing with the gym is I use it all the time. A lot of the members probably don't see me training a huge amount. Because I train around around times, but that's the biggest thing is, you know, like, it's first and foremost, the gym is my place to come and train.
Yeah.
So I buy things, you know, I've got to balance the stuff off based on how expensive it is, how many people use it, and there's like a priority list. And like, you know, every bit of equipment now that I buy, I'm like, is that going to bring, like, what's the quality of life improvement for the members who need to use it? Is it going to bring anyone else in?
Yeah.
And like, how long can that other bit of kit last before it needs changed? And I think must be the biggest thing. Like, I use the gym all the time to train clients and train. Like, first and foremost, the gym is my training like area of like mainly. Like, that's the whole reason I ended up owning it. Because I like training.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing. Like, you get a lot of business owners, and I've been in it before as well, where it's like they build this thing and then kind of the customers take over it. And then you just kind of work for it, and that's not fulfilling at all. So you end up resenting it. So
it's a balance. Like, this last year and a bit in particular has been like super hard. Like, trying to maintain. Like, one of my spinal injury thing came back again April last year. No, before that, April before. So, you know, dealing with like, you know, recurrence of injury, like lack of being able to train properly, being in a lot of like pain daily, plus building this whole new place. And like not like and working, doing PT and all the other stuff. You know, it does take over. It's hard for me to sometimes like focus on the whole point is like it's somewhere that like I need to be able to train too.
Yeah, you need to enjoy it, otherwise it's that adds up pretty quick. And
I think like it's hard because when it's like your business, this is more than business, right? People see me around here all the time. It's like consumed my entire life.
So it has to be worth it, right?
Like I'm pushing to make it work. Like, financially, it's been like a horrible decision. It's honestly the worst financial decision I've ever made.
Really?
Like, hands down. Like, but like so far. But I'm hoping that that's going to pay off. By continuing working on it. You know, had I gone and got a normal job.
Yeah, you can make a lot more money. Probably miserable though.
Maybe a shit ton more money. You know, and then being able to like clock off at 5 o'clock and then
somebody else's problem.
Well, then go train, do stuff, you know, that kind of thing. But I wouldn't trade it at all for that. And hopefully it pans out over the time scale. And like I enjoyed building something that other people can use as well. It
was providing value in it, which is, you know, I don't know how you feel about it, but that feels fulfilling. Like, you've done something worthwhile. Kind of thing, you know. And then we've got the new gym. We've got the High Rocks gym as well, which is taken off.
So that's
massive. Like, High Rocks is a massive thing now.
That kind of came about almost by accident, to be honest. Like, I've been looking at moving the gym for a long time because the original space in the gym is great, but it's limiting, right? Everything's a game of compromises because it's just a like big metal tube. There's no no options for running classes in there at all, which are a huge revenue stream for a gym. Mainly, like, we could run classes, but
it would take away from the rest of the members.
Yeah, exactly, and that's something I'm always big on is balance off. Like, as me as a gym user, if I was to come into the space and something was going on, would it piss me off? Like that, and it's also the thing. Like, I'm quite big on this for like promotions and other stuff. Like, I never run like a January deal or anything like that because, I'd rather give back to the people who've supported me for years, rather than try and entice some new people
with cheaper than the original members.
Exactly. Like that would piss me off. Something wrong. If that was like, I've never found a way of balancing that, and everyone's always like, Lewis, you need to run offers, and I'm like, I just don't fucking want to, because like these people have supported me all the way through this. And like what we've doing, created it. Like,
it's kind of thrown in my face.
If someone knew like, oh, I'll go there because it's $5 off, I'm like, that's great, but what does that say to everyone else? Who's
and those people likely aren't going to stay around for as long as the other people paying full.
Yeah, well, even notwithstanding that, it's just I get why it works from a marketing point of view. Like it absolutely does work and it's important, but it's something I've always been
value over quantity.
Yeah, because I'm like, if I was a member and I'd be a member at a gym for like 16 years,
you see these new people coming in at half the price.
Yeah, I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Especially like, if you're someone that's like stuck with the gym through all the years of kind of like moving and got with the program.
Yeah, and likely when it's not been the best times or it's not been really an affordable thing, you've still paid it and
absolutely 100%. It's like I get it from a big business point of view, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And people love a deal, but it's just how that converts across. But yeah, when it comes to like that space at RH19, it was so limited. Like it was like it's kind of decked it out to its capacity almost.
Yeah.
So I've always been looking for a new space, and this opportunity arose around the other side of the arches. So I decided to take a jump at that and see how it went, and it's allowed us to like have separate areas. So like a peak time on a like Monday night, we had how many people did I have in for class last night until 22, 30, 38. Quick math. Yeah, like 45 people for across 3 classes. Jeez. Last night in the training hall. And RH19 is still busy and everyone can still do what they need to do. Yeah. You guys can still work with clients. Yeah. That's something I've always been big on is...
Yeah, because there's other people's businesses inside that business as well.
Yeah, because like most people want PT between the hours of...
Yeah, morning 6, or evening.
Yeah, 5 in the morning or like 9 in the morning for work, and then like 5 at night till 9 at night, because most people who can afford PT
are working.
Yeah. So it's hard. Sense. So yeah, as soon as you start impacting that on anyone.
Yeah, and then that's not going to be good for them either. Like you said, compromises.
Yeah, it is just a game of compromise, and it's always a balancing point. Like everyone's got things they're interested in and not interested in other stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the High Rocks thing's kind of picked up massively. And I'd be totally lying if I said I didn't kind of just build that because I got interested in it.
Okay.
Like that's like a few plans changed, but my training started moving that way. Yeah. Mainly due through injuries.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy the training side of it. It allows me to train hard without triggering some of the stuff I've got that goes on. And I built that around what some of the guys and some of us were doing in the gym, in the hope that other people could come and benefit from it as well, rather than just going, High Rocks is trendy, I've seen it on Instagram, let's get that going. Yeah. And that's happened. Like everyone else in town started jumping all over it. Yeah. Because it's a business trend. Yeah,
well, it's a business model that works for you, and everybody's into it, and it's a good thing as well.
It's accessible. That's the whole point of it. It's like, and that's one of the reasons I like it from my own training point of view, is it's relatively low impact. Yeah. And it's accessible. So when I've got like a really bad like nerve pain flare up or my shoulder's locked and it's not working properly, I can still train quite hard.
Plus, it's a totally usable tool as well. Like it transfers well into real life.
100%.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like I tell people often with the contrast between strongman and powerlifting, and quite part of the reason why I moved over to it as well is strongman's usable elsewhere, like odd objects. It's somewhat functional, whereas powerlifting's not.
Well, I wouldn't go like it's definitely useful.
Yeah, I mean, like
it's not as immediately transferable. Right?
Yeah, the movements themselves. Yeah,
like being strong is never bad.
Absolutely.
There's almost like no exceptions where being strong is problematic.
Yeah, it's not really any downsides.
Yeah, like notwithstanding, but it's the not being able to convert that like strength into the real world, and most of the time people will be able to do it to some degree. It's just like when you train strongman or something a little bit more like
moving,
functional. It's more readily available. Because you're like, I can move this horrible sack of sand.
It's not a million miles away from how you train. Yeah, I think it was with the powerlifting, for me it was like I was statically strong, but I couldn't run up a set of stairs.
Yeah, that's definitely.
And it was kind of my own fault for not putting cardio in that, but I just wasn't doing it. Whereas the strongman kind of forces it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then with the high rock stuff, you run about all the time, but you're then moving weights as well repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that transfers 100% into life.
Yeah, well, that's something that I've changed massively on over the years, is my kind of like outlook on what's actually useful for most people.
Yeah.
And the High Rocks format, as it stands, I think is one of the most approachable and generally useful things for people in general. I think the only thing it's missing from it is a bit more focus on upper body strength.
Yeah.
And I can see why it's missing, because it's hard to measure or test those things fairly across body weight.
Right. Yeah.
So like that's one of the things with the high rock stuff is, like, if you are a large individual, like, you know, myself, I ran the last 3 high rocks as I did at like 130 kilos.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a decent strength advantage, but none of it's like max effort strength wise.
Yeah.
And like a lot of that strength advantage is negated by the running speed.
Yeah.
If you were to put more upper body stuff in it, I think a lot of the lighter people would
Struggle with
and it's
that,
also
yeah.
hard to grade.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
it's massively hard to grade in a way that's different from like lower body capacity, and especially once you start jumping genders.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
the scaling
just gets really messy.
Yeah. So the scaling for high rocks, like female to mixed, doubles to male open weight, and like it scales really nicely. So like the female open category is like a decent weight, but like the female pro category is just the male open weight.
Oh, okay.
But if you were to start including some like reasonably tough upper body components, that scaling would change.
Right.
Have to change massively, and it'd be way more complicated.
Yeah. It's not really worth it.
Well, it's just like, especially on a mass format, it's really hard. Like CrossFit tackles it relatively well.
Right.
But it also makes it like super out of reach for most people.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to balance. So it's good, but yeah, it's just missing a bit of upper body stuff, I think. Or like a lot of the people who we train here struggle with upper body strength when they first come in. We're trying to like help them with that.
I generally find that as well.
They don't immediately see the benefit in like, oh, if my upper body gets stronger, like I'll be better at literally everything. It's not an either or. Like, it's not a compromise. Maybe you don't want be carrying a huge amount of weight in your upper body. Like, I carry too much weight in my upper body to be really good at high rock stuff, because it puts my weight distribution like that. But it makes the skiing and the rowing like shit ton easier.
Yeah, because you've got that advantage of weight on the top. You throw yourself into it.
100%. So it's a balancing game, but it's really accessible for most of the population. And it's probably, it converts really well into just general life. Like, for most people, for most voting members in a democratic society, they should be able to run. Should be able to pass basic military fitness tests. And they should be able to move their own body weight if they need to, or move certain things. It's like top end strength work. Like, it's not super useful outside like a set amount of.
But you need to be able to help yourself. I talk about this often with people, like, I'm going to bring this up again. I talk quite often about zombie apocalypse. Shit, like, if you're not ready for that, we should probably do an episode just on that itself. And that, like, if you can't pull yourself out of a body of water, if you can't get up out of a chair, like, you're pretty fucked. Do you know what I mean? If you can't save yourself, that's what. Did you see the video where the woman falls over
with the pram?
Holy shit, that's scary.
It's rough. You know, it's been. The individual responsibility to maintain physical readiness and fitness, particularly within a democratic system, has been massively undermined. You know, we can delve off into the reasons as to why. You know, a few theory resistant. Partially on purpose.
Okay.
Like partially just through human incentivization structure. Like the more, if you give people access to high calorie, easy access, cheap food.
Yeah.
Most people are going to like I've been there, done that. Like most people overconsume.
Yeah.
And it does creep up on people, and then you're in this place where it's really hard to get out of that.
Yeah.
And there's not enough emphasis being placed on the responsibility of the individual to maintain readiness.
Yeah.
To one, look after themselves and be able to, stand up if they're called upon.
Yeah.
To either defend their nation or their people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what. That's definitely going in a different.
Yeah, it's going in a different arc. Soviet psyops are a whole thing, but we can veer into that in a different
that's definitely a different episode.
but it's we see it every day, right? Like the mishmash of random fucking psyop stuff and like people's natural incentive structures over the past 60 years has led to a population that's woefully unable to perform their duties.
Yeah, it's dangerously
as
soft.
As voting members in a democratic society. Like it's just not, it's not good, and we don't teach our kids like properly about the values of these things. We can go into the whole like healthcare side of it as well. That's problematic.
Yeah.
But and that's where I think Hyrox is great, because it gives a lot of people a lot of access to really simple, really like regular training that is going to carry over and help you tackle those things. Yeah. Whereas like I was a huge advocate of just barbell stuff for years. It's way too technical for most people.
Yeah.
Like it's not that technical. But if you're working like a 9 to 5, dealing with kids and all the other stresses in life, like I've got a better appreciation now for people. So people just want to come in and they want to work hard, do something simple.
Yeah.
Like they don't, like some people do, and a lot of us do enjoy the technical mastery and aspects of stuff. A lot of people just want to turn up and work hard. Like they don't want to be like, right, I've got to wrap my head around this bit and do this, and like you need to spend 6 months working on this. You need to get that mobility sorted out, and it's great that people want to do that, and that's our bread and butter, right? But the simple format stuff,
it works.
It works.
Yeah,
and you can do it en masse.
Yeah.
That's why like military fitness testing is so simple. They've recently made it a little bit more complicated, but like PFA in the British Army since World War II pretty much was a 1.5 mile run, 50 press ups, 44 sit ups. Yeah. Because you can get like a whole battalion doing it at the same time.
Yeah. Minimal equipment and like just go.
Pair of trainers, shorts, go. Whereas we do more comprehensive testing with people, but you know the amount of time it takes to do like.
And it can be very individualised. Yeah, it's a worry how many people cannot do that as well though. Those basic tests.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I say, it's just the way things have rolled.
Yeah.
The emphasis has not been placed upon that for a very long time. Yeah. Because people thought it was something that you didn't need.
Yeah, it got too comfortable.
Yeah, well, and there's also the like, the mass importance of the liberty of the individual and their ability to eat fish and chips every night if they so choose, which is totally like that's a line to walk. Yeah, like you can't. It's weird, in America where they've got a private healthcare system overwhelmingly. It's one of the reasons. So you see like massive amounts of obesity for a variety of other reasons. Yeah. But at the end of the day, because they have a private healthcare system, it's on the individual. Yeah. If you want to be morbidly obese,
you're going to pay for it.
Essentially, yeah. In European societies where we have socialised healthcare systems, where there's a collective tax burden, should that same degree of liberty be given to the individual when it's a collective effort to deal with it? Yeah. Again, veering into a different side of things. But should there be more emphasis put on health and fitness for the individuals, because at the end of the day, everyone's collectively paying for the end cause problems that come with that. Whereas in private health systems, that's not the case. You know, there's other societal issues that come from it as well, but they're not paid for wholly by the collective. Way off topic, but basically High Rocks like it because it gets more people moving more. And doing more useful movements rather than just like being put off from exercise because it's slow or technical, or there's an anxiety barrier as well. That's a huge thing. A lot of people come in and they go, I don't know what I'm doing, these people all know what they're doing, and therefore I'm just going to walk straight back at the gym again, or not even come in. Whereas the model I run with the High Rock stuff is it's all super simple stuff.
And it doesn't really matter what level they're at, to be able to do it to some extent.
Absolutely. And like, or we can even regress that down. Or come up with alternatives.
Super adaptable. That's kind of one of my talking points with a lot of class members. It's like, I've had a few folks who are like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be here. I'm like, no, you're absolutely supposed to be here. Like, it's just, everything can be adaptable. I've had pregnant people in the class. I've had old people.
I think as well when you see it on social media, right? Because obviously the people that get the most like attention are the like world class athletes. So you see that and you're like,
people are doing ridiculous
like,
things.
Absolutely jacked people running around with six packs with their tops off. Is this for me?
I get that feel from like I talked about this earlier. I get that feel from people that expect a certain breed or atmosphere to be in results, and it is not kind of that way. Like, it is. We have got elite people in there, but we've got elite all the way to beginner. And they can all still use that space together.
Well, that's another thing with the High Rocks classes are really trying to push. We've got, like, Louise has qualified for the World Championships. Like, there's like Jake, who just ran, he did a 107 at the Pro down in Manchester at the weekend. Some absolutely phenomenal athletes. They can mix into classes. And like no one's getting in the way, no one's being held up. Like, everyone's just working at their own rate. And the way I design them is that they're like, it's like that. Everyone just goes through it at their own pace. And there's no like backlogging or like gatekeeping. And like, you know, someone's coming in going, oh, I don't want to hold anyone, because that's the bit of feedback you get from people is like, oh, I don't want to hold anyone up, or, you know, I don't know if I should be at this level. It's like, well, you're not going to be. You just come in and work
doing
away.
Your own level.
And you've got like people at the like really high world class level can mix in the class. With people who've like sometimes like not exercised for years or never really done anything.
And it still works.
And they all just go at their own pace, and everyone like helps each other.
Like it's super respectful in here as well. To anybody that listen to that as well, because you go into a commercial gym where, unfortunately, it attracts a lot of egos, unwarranted egos.
There's a lot of that.
And not whereas like for in here where you would expect there to be massive egos because of the class of people that come in, is not, because they cannot prove to other people in the gym. It's everybody's super respectful and helpful, and you just get on. So you can have elite, and then you can have the complete opposite side of the scale, somebody that's brand new to the gym, and I think just works.
A big thing with like the higher level athletes we have across the board in here is they're none of them are professional athletes. They're just people who love training. It's like their lifestyle. All of them are relatively high performing in their own given careers as well. Whether like a lot of them are healthcare, public service in particular, all these kind of things, and like it's the discipline and the work ethic and the like desire to bring others up, not drag others down, that drives them. That's not always the case in other places. Again, like not huge amount of experience out with, but you know, it's
I can tell you it's absolutely how it works.
Well, you know, it's just people who are doing it for different reasons, you know, and that's that's on them, and like some of those reasons end up clashing with other
Yeah.
people. But our ethos, or like higher level capacity, they're all people who are driven to help others in their everyday life. And training makes them better at that. And then that filters down. And hopefully people see that in the classes and pick up that vibe.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're not there just to like measure dicks with everyone.
Yeah, no, it's totally a supportive environment, and like because we don't have the massive turnover, people end up knowing people by name, and you know, and asking about how each other's getting on, or they help each other in the class. Everybody cheers each other on. It's just super supportive. Like nobody's left behind.
It has to be managed like that, right? Like when you have, that was my biggest fear last April when we opened this place, was actually getting too big too fast.
Right.
Like that was my biggest fear point. And it was the same when we refurbed the gym back in August.
Yeah.
When we refurbed the gym back in August 2019, we doubled the membership in less than 6 months.
Right.
And that came with its own set of conflict points.
Yeah.
Right, because you know, you doubled the volume of people very quickly. Different personalities.
Yeah.
All these things kind of mixing together, and if they're done too fast, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So in April I was like, ooh, hopefully it doesn't do that. And because we've got the separate spaces now, there's less, not everyone's filtering into the same space the whole time. So people can ingratiate themselves at their own pace. And because we've had this like steady growth, and also we almost entirely work on growth by referral.
Right,
Like most of our
people bring other people in.
Yeah, basically most of our business is people talking to folk. Because we get people coming in like cold, you know, like off the Google or the street, but they tend not to last very long. Most of our like community growth is literally that. It's community growth. It's people going like, oh, I've been training here, you should come along, just try it out.
Which keeps it kind of the same kind of mindset of people as well.
It's a little bit more homogenous, right? Like people have a tangible connection to the thing they're coming into, and like they've got a friend to come into the thing with, and they're not like, oh, I'm turning up here.
Yeah, it makes the transition a bit easier.
You know, all these scary looking people. And yeah, like I think when you have any environment, if you dump too many people into that environment too quickly, it doesn't work. There's conflict points arise too quickly, and it's hard to manage that.
And like with the foundation we already had, it would just dilute that as well if we had too many people at once.
So luckily that didn't happen. We had a good influx, and because we had the like separate things, it was hard to work out. One, how to market it. Two, how to keep like things exactly the same in Arch 19.
To not upset the existing members.
Exactly. Like, keep it the same, add value. You know, one thing we had to increase the membership. That was the government's fault. Like, it was fuck all to do. Government came through there. We had to add VAT. So that like none of that.
That's a killer.
None of that goes to the gym. So that was the whole thing. Was we're like, guys, you've been here for years, and I know the membership's going up, but I waited until we had the new, like, we triggered the VAT threshold way before that.
Right.
But I waited until we had the new facilities open to add that to membership. So it could be like, guys, like, I'm offering you all this extra. Even though it's the government that are forcing me to do this, essentially. And not just transferring it straight to you. So keeping that smooth and still investing and not forgetting about all the members that have been with us for years. Whilst bringing in a new clientele base.
I think most people took it really well as well. Like, everybody that's been here for a while understands the value of it. Do you know what I mean? And an extra, what was it, £5? It went up at £10.
20%. Pretty much across the board.
I mean.
So it was like £10.
It was, but that's justifiable.
Yeah, and that's also like we hadn't increased in line with inflation or anything either. You know, when I started training at Results Gym when I was 16 years old, it was £40 a month.
Right. Okay. Yes, it's not even went up that much.
So adjusted for inflation, in line with the government figures, which are not necessarily true, should be between £72 and £73.
Wow.
If you were to adjust from that 40. and that would not include any VAT jump either.
Yeah.
So it would be like, you know, if you were to adjust straight in line with inflation, it should be £72 plus VAT. So, you know, you're up at the 80 something mark in that 16-year period.
Damn.
And I know this is like obviously more businessy type stuff, and people don't, until you run your own business, people don't think about that at all. You know, we're running at something like 20+% inflation since COVID. Yeah. And that's like official government figures. Not necessarily like real world cost to individual. Yeah. Which is very easy to get squirrely about that kind of stuff. You know, everything, the costs of everything are fucking insane. Yeah. From a business point of view. Yeah. Absolutely. Energy in particular is horrific. Unreal.
Yeah. I think everybody's feeling that one.
Yeah, but like, the thing is, there's no cap for business energy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So there's a domestic cap, but there's no cap for business energy.
Right.
And a whole pile of other like caveats. You know, the government did run some schemes back in around about the time of the Ukraine war to kind of cap energy flow, but that's long gone. Yeah. Or they weren't capping it; they were like paying some kind of subsidy. I can't remember the exact scheme name. Yeah. But yeah, it's just continued to be a massive problem.
Yeah, damn. On that cheery note, what's the plans for the gym in the future? Because I know you're not finished.
Yeah, well, keep kind of spinning and see where things take us. I think that's the Arch 19, like the original gym. Yeah. Continuing to like spec up. You know, I had got a few things I want to replace in there. Keep moving up. Keep moving the standard up in there. It seems to be doing okay, but like keep quality of life improvement going there. Currently the studio, putting a lot more kit into the studio, so to making that more useful for PTs, make it more useful for individual training, and making that like not overflow gym space, but like give people more space in different environments training. Yeah, so a few machines and stuff coming in for there in the next couple of weeks. The training hall, that's kind of staying as is. Again, quality of life improvement from an equipment point of view. Yeah. Just specking up some of the stuff we've got. Some like higher quality bars, collars, bits and pieces. I got my eye on like a GHD and some other bits. That again will just be quality of life improvements for members, and just allow like a wider range of stuff to be able to do. Yeah.
We've already got a silly amount of equipment as well.
We do, yeah. I'm running out of space. I need a bigger gym.
Yeah, we've got like equipment that I've never seen in any other gym. Like just the amount of stuff. Like pretty much, if somebody can think about it, we've got it in some form.
Yeah. Like from a like conventional point of view, I think like that's something keen to maybe engage. You know, once things are settled a little bit, the dust has settled on a few things. I'm kind of at a place where we've sorted stuff out. Is be like, right guys, this bit kit, who actually uses it? Yeah. Is this a useful use of this space? Because we're so limited. Because I try and cram so much kit into the gym. Like, is this a good use of space? Is there something else that you guys would use more? And start looking at, you know, probably like later end of this year, like after summer, as things settle, like that's be a bit more democratic to some degree with the decision making. As pressure comes off, and I'm looking forward to just keeping the momentum we built up going, and seeing where that turns out over the next couple of years. I mean, like, how do you find the working environment down here?
Oh yeah, awesome. So I've actually had this conversation with several people, because they're like, you know, like, how do you get on working with other PTs? I think it's good for a few reasons. So I've done work for companies where it's like there's a whole hierarchy thing. There's not so much that here. I mean, obviously, like you're the boss man kind of thing. It's somebody to answer to and that, but it's not the same. Like you don't have the same like hold over people.
No, well, my like whole ethos is autonomy of the individual. Like if you have like a safe, like, so if I create a safe, workable environment. Like, and it's vetted appropriately. Individuals, either members or PTs, should have like almost autonomy over anything that they do, as long as it doesn't cross certain red lines.
Yeah. I think that's important to have that kind of level of freedom.
Need to be interfering in what you guys do.
Yeah, it makes it easier for you. It makes it easier for us.
Yeah, well, like as a principle of like, you know, it's a massive principle in my life. Like, I should not be interfering.
Yeah.
The state should not be interfering on what an individual wants to do,
provided
over and above certain extreme limitations as set out.
Yeah.
You know, and I try and run my business like that.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. And it works. It works amazingly. And like even though we're all doing the same thing, all the PTs are doing the same thing. We've all got our own clientele, and that nobody's really. I don't really see us as competitors. Everybody gets on.
Niches, right? Especially.
Everybody gets on really well.
That's the way it should be. You know, you don't want to be, because we don't. I don't know how you find it, but like, a lot of the interest for PT comes from out with the gym.
Yeah. So they tend to find the individual rather.
Yeah, and that is something that's changing quite a lot actually. With the new gym, we are attracting a lot more attention from people who've maybe got less experience, and that's then given more the PTs opportunities to step in and from a marketing point of view push their own services.
Yeah.
You know, that's something I really want to actually, speaking of gym plans, push a little bit more is like helping like draw people into the gym.
Yeah.
And then giving you guys the opportunity to basically sell yourselves.
Yeah.
Or like fitting people with the niche or the right person that they want. Yeah,
like referring whatever relevant PT.
Someone comes in and they go like, I want to do strongman, so I'm like, right.
Yeah.
Brett, do you want to speak to this guy? And maybe capturing more of that is something we're missing out on. And reaching out or like having a wider net of people to come to us to know like we will help like filter them to what they need. Yeah. Rather than going into a pure gym and just like it's a like luck of the draw.
Yeah. Or you pick off a wall that's very much it wasn't. So if we're coming from that, say like it wasn't freeing, especially like the social media side of things, the marketing side of things, it all had to be in a specific way that they done, and it just didn't fit with every individual.
Like, I don't know, it's people think that like if you work at Pure Gym, right, you work for them, so you're like brand representative.
Yeah.
People get real twitchy nowadays about everything to do with their brand, and I can see why, but
it's very limiting for somebody trying to grow.
Yeah. At the end of the day, like it's like the whole concept of having a free market is that you guys can put forward what you think is valuable. Yeah. And you can create something out of that, and then people will filter to the best product for that. Yeah. As soon as you start to fuck with that, and you have a command economy to some degree, you're straight into real ropey water that does not work.
Yeah. It doesn't work.
Like from a money making point of view, maybe it probably does. Like I'd probably like should interfere more if I want to make money. But I have zero interest in infringing.
But then you don't have that same connection with us.
It crosses my red lines about liberty of the individual. Like it's a hard no. Like, you know, you guys contribute, and you know it's up to you how much you want to contribute or not contribute, and as long as you don't go crossing some really serious red lines, it's up to you what you want to offer people. And then it's up to those individuals to decide that that's for them.
Yeah, I think that works for me as well. And I think even with coming over with clients and then them kind of diminishing and that, I'm kind of grateful for it in a way. Like we don't have that high turnover because it's forced me to level up my game.
Would you be doing this otherwise?
What PTing?
No, like this podcast.
Oh yeah, no, not a chance.
Exactly. So
and that all come through like an exposure thing, because I had to go and read and listen to shit that like how do you grow, how do you expose yourself, how do you attract people, and so I've got like this whole realm of shit that
push you outside your comfort zone.
Right? Oh, massively, yeah.
And if you don't have
but it's like a do or die thing.
Yeah, if you don't have to, if it's something you don't naturally take to, if you don't have to do it, you're not going to do it.
It was super uncomfortable. It still is super uncomfortable, but I like that growth in the challenge of it, whereas I wasn't getting that before. It was just easy.
If you had a full client roster, you wouldn't be doing it.
No.
That's the thing. If you're not trying to attract clients in any, like really, you should probably always be thinking about the foresight of it. A lot of the PTs here have like pretty stacked client rosters and have been PTs for a long time and work off referral, and like don't heavily advertise.
Yeah.
And it does get, you probably get to that point where you're like, oh, I could probably do picking up a few PTs with clients. I've got some spare time, but you're like,
there's not really life from there.
Why is nobody getting in touch with me?
Yeah. I was thinking you get too
anything.
Comfortable. Yeah, and that was my flaw at the end of last year. Is I got too comfortable, and then before I knew it, I'm like, shit, I need to do something.
Yeah, no, it's cool what you've managed to do. And like pull around, like just even branding, putting yourself out there, and you've also run a business before, so you know kind of what.
I kind of knew the business thing. The hang up for me was like completely different industry, so it was a bit more difficult, and it's very much self-branding rather than branding a service.
It's definitely one thing that like results as under my like regime has suffered from to some degree. Is my unwillingness to go and convert, like chase, like complete unwillingness to go chase sales, and convert people into gym. Like, if people want to come and find the gym,
then great.
I'm like, hey, she'll help you with like absolutely anything you need. But when it comes to me going out and pushing it, I'm like, they'll find us if they find us. Which from a business point of view has definitely not been super helpful, and I know that we need to be a bit more active with that. But my, putting myself out of my comfort zone, or just my attitude with a lot of things. It's like, well, if I was going to go find a decent gym, I'd go find it. I wouldn't like go to a gym based on if like someone handed me a leaflet. But
that's you.
But that's me. And I'm not representative like at all. As I realise more and more, and what you're doing is great. Like, it gives me an opportunity to talk about stuff that otherwise absolutely. Like never gets.
Well, it's giving that voice out, and it's giving a platform to spread this stuff, because it's worth hearing. Do you know what I mean? It gives some context, some background to the gym as well. It gives it some character.
Because otherwise it's like faceless.
Kind of. It's just another gym.
Well, the gym, especially with the branding, it's all like results gym. It is just me. And I've got a team of you guys now who help me with stuff and do bits and pieces. But at the end of the day, it is just me that manages and runs everything, and has been for quite a few years.
I think
that's not representative in the social media or like the branding at all. It's just straight up. It's like there's almost this like faceless Chevron brand. I think that was kind of my part of motivation for doing my own very distinguished branding as well, is because my page was starting to look like just it's a results page. So it was like that's all I was posting. I'm wearing all the gear. It's tagging in every single post. It was always just results. So I was like, I'm not result. I was having people ask me as well. I'm like, man, I don't know. I don't work. Well, I do work there, but I'm not owned by results. So
it's I kind of distinguish myself.
It's definitely something that happens. Like people fall into the habit, and it's the easy thing to do because you just get behind it. And that's it. There's no like you don't have to think that hard about it. You just evolve it out.
I think it kind of speaks for the gym as well in a way, because like I'm happy to preach all about results to anybody that listen. Do you know what I mean? It's like somebody wearing Nike because they like that brand, and they like what they stand for, kind of thing.
Well, it's relatively neutral, right? That was the whole kind of thing with it, and that is the idea with the gym. It's a niche gym, right? It's a niche independent gym, but it's neutral enough that you can come in and do what you need to do. And like people will be open and responding to that. I'm open, like as long as you come in with a positive attitude, and you're willing to like work within the parameters of the community. Then we'll try and help you do whatever you want to do. And without opportunities like this, there's no way. I can stand and talk to people in person. Which is kind of my thing, but not putting it out there.
Yeah, it's not reaching the masses kind of thing.
Yeah, well, hopefully start moving forward with stuff and that. Like, you know, this is great. You're doing this. Need to do a bit more of it. We've got got a couple of people helping me with the social media for the gym.
Nice.
Or not helping me, but just doing the social media for the gym.
Okay.
I just don't fucking touch it at all. Because I post like an absolute boomer.
It's so difficult, and you try to get like with trends and stuff are ever changing.
Yeah, well, that's another problem. Like I'm not into fitness trends.
Yeah,
I don't watch any fitness content.
Yeah.
On the internet. You know, that's something I used to years ago, but like my Instagram feed, my YouTube feed, I don't use TikTok. Like almost none of it's fitness related.
Yeah.
You know, my stuff's way more tilted like geopolitics and history and that kind of stuff like that. That is my like kind of true bread and butter.
Yeah.
Interest points, like as much as I love the fitness industry and working in it.
Yeah.
So I don't see a lot of these trends. People come up to me and they're like, "Have you seen this?"
I don't. It's not entirely a bad thing.
Like I'm too old now.
I mean, I definitely. I wouldn't say that. You're younger than me. I get it, and a lot of stuff I just scroll past. I do. Me and Ben often send each other like ridiculous challenges stuff.
Yeah, well,
I know he's definitely all for it.
That's most of the stuff that like I get is from like you guys sharing stuff with me, being like, "This is funny."
Yeah, and that's
from
just
a point of
bit
view
fun.
of like actual just consumption of like fitness trends or what's going on in the social media scape around the fitness industry. I don't know really what's happening.
But I don't see that as a bad thing, like, because a lot of it is really gimmicky. Like the stuff that gets really big views and is nonsense, or it's like it's fake, or it's just it looks, you know, somewhat appeasing, but it's bullshit. It's not. It doesn't represent what fitness actually is.
Yeah, like.
So I mean, so that's because we're not a gimmicky culture in results.
Yeah, like everyone knows what does well on the internet.
Yeah,
like, it's not hard to see what does well and what doesn't, right? And because I don't indulge in too much of that side of things, just purely because it's just not. Like I spend all day in the gym. Like I spent. I was like 14, 15 hours in here. Like I don't want to go home
and then watch it from the screen.
Yeah, like I'm sorry, I'm like no, like not when there's like actual interesting stuff going on.
Yeah.
Like there's so much going on at the moment that I don't have time to waste my fucking time watching fitness content.
Yeah.
When like we're in the most geopolitically unstable time since World War II.
Yeah.
Like that, like what, like I just don't have time for
important,
that. Yeah, it's just not important. Like it's great, like learning and like I like doing a bit of CPD and learning stuff.
Yeah.
If it's like specific to working with a client, or there's like I've got a particular interest point where I'm like, right, I need to learn more about this so I can then help.
Yeah.
Either myself do it or someone else do it. Like that's something different, but yeah, that makes me very unaware of what's going on in the fitness sphere. You know, ask me a bunch of like random questions about what's happening in Myanmar and like maybe, but other than that, like that's definitely been a blocker over the past couple of years. Because when we took over, when me and Stacey took over, I was kind of like, this is your bit of the business to deal with.
Yeah.
Like I'll deal with the logistical boring bits, most of it, and you know, I was like, you've got a social media presence, you can do that, and she was really good at it. And, but that meant I didn't learn how to do it.
You got left behind in that,
Yeah, and then the gym Instagram page basically went like when me and Stacey, when Stacey started focusing on her own stuff, and I bought Stacey out. Like the gym Instagram page went dormant for like a year and a bit. I just like didn't use it. Until like luckily I started working with a couple other people who was like.
A bit more savvy on it.
Well, just actually started doing something.
Yeah.
That was a huge mistake on my, massive mistake on my part.
It can be really time consuming as well though.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it.
It's super time consuming. And I tend to I'm better with it now, I'm more consistent with it, I tend to schedule a lot of stuff. But it's like, you get right into it and you're like, Jesus, like, your head's burst with just the amount of time you've had to put into it.
I downloaded CapCut last week.
Yeah, to try it again.
I tried to make a reel from one training session.
How frustrated did you get?
I almost broke my phone. And, yeah, I sat for like an hour and a half dicking around with it. And I was like, this is shit. And didn't post anything.
Yeah. But then there's perhaps that, like we talked about earlier, just doing it, just putting it.
Just doing it. I was just like, it was last Monday. I had a really hard training session, really good training session. Got home at I trained after class. I didn't get home till like 10:30. Sat down, had some food, and was like, I'll fuck about with this now. Had to be back in here.
I feel like you've lost an hour of your life.
Yeah, well, I even lost. I was just like, what am I doing? It's like 11:30 at night, and I'm dicking around in CapCut. Like, this is not it. And like stress me out before bed.
Yeah, I get that. It does get easier.
It's just I need to like pick a day where I'm like, I'm going to learn how to do this, or ask one of you guys.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, get a jump start on it.
Yeah, because I'm far too IT illiterate for this to be manageable.
Yeah.
Going forward, it's something I know I need to work on.
Yeah.
Just like my ADHD.
Man, it's doable. Like I was looking back further down my page, to when I really started getting into that and trying to produce content again, and it's fucking naff. But who cares? Nobody talks about it. Nobody's probably even seen it. It doesn't matter. But it's led on to me now producing half decent content.
You just got to practice it.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the problem because it's not something I have to do.
Yeah. There's no push.
It's something. Yeah. I'm like I had a spicy training session with some interesting bits in it. Like I'll try and thingy it together, and I was just like, nah, this is.
Yeah.
It's not working. My big sausage fingers don't work properly.
Yeah.
School and stuff, and nah. Well, that's why I found it so much easier just to be like, this is your job.
Yeah.
But then I don't actually learn how to do it. And what I should really do is sit down with people and be like, right.
Yeah, actually learn a bit or two.
Yeah. Teach me like I'm 5 years old how this works.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that is on the game plan going forward because it's something I need to learn how to do.
Yeah. I mean, that it was for me as well. I think maybe watching a few people like entrepreneurial style and like if you're not doing this, you're gonna get left behind. I get it, and like internet is a massive part of exposure for anyone, especially businesses.
Yeah, people come to expect. People come to expect it now as well. It's not even like it's like
first place people go to look.
Thing.
Do you know what I mean? It's like all the social media stuff is used like search engines.
Well, yeah, so you hear about something, someone's like, oh, this is a thing. You look it up and you can't find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
You're like, this is suspicious.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you just forget about it and you never get seen.
That's it. It just goes and that's it.
Yeah. You need to be instantly in front of people's face.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of that. I suppose it depends on the content that you're putting out. And if you don't take to it naturally, like I don't find this format I find very comfortable.
Yeah.
If I was to sit and like record something myself.
Yeah, it's different again. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, it's very different again. Yeah, I find this easier than, even though like I'm still quite nervous around this and it still feels somewhat, not so much forced now, but unnatural. It's still a lot more natural because I can eventually forget that that's all there.
Yeah,
it's just a conversation.
You start speaking and then even like.
Yeah, you just get like, comfortable talking.
3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, when you I've often just sit down in front of the phone, push the record button, and then like by the time I go back to like editing, there's 2 minutes and we just sit staring at the camera.
Just like black out.
Just like try to run it through my head. Like
404.
Clearly, I was not ready to record this.
Yeah, no, not happening.
Yeah,
it's a huge thing, and it's scripting, and I find it difficult to sit down and allocate time to any of this stuff, especially when it's it's something I want to get back into, is like not pushing, but like reevaluating my own coaching stuff, and maybe even sports, like not just sports coaching, but like just information and content. We've almost drifted into a few times. I've got some maybe not mainstream ideas about the connections between certain things and why they're important, and what they like, what the background is on these things.
Yeah.
And like and the problems that we've kind of stumbled into.
Yeah.
Or been pushed into by certain bad actors over time. You know, and helping people kind of get around that.
Yeah.
And realizing that like they need to take their health and fitness seriously.
Yeah.
Like we're now in a world where like stabbing attacks are like a daily occurrence in Europe.
Yeah, that was
and not just like people you know. So like traditionally it was like known people that you're known to. Like most murders and things like that in the United Kingdom were completed by people within
quite intimate.
Yeah, so that is not the case.
Yeah,
that's still the majority of the cases, but the amount of stabbing attacks and random attacks that happen in Europe now, like people need to take this shit seriously and be able to look after themselves, and especially if you have children.
Absolutely.
You need to be able to deal with.
Yeah, I mean that's like, a massive thing for me, and I've talked to several people about that as well.
It's huge.
And that's kind of coming off the, like a joke about the zombie apocalypse and stuff, but seriously, if I can't see myself being able to protect not just myself but family as well, what the fuck is my purpose?
Well, as a father, like what is your purpose?
What the fuck use would I be if I can't do that?
Yeah, so it really like maybe we're veering off into something that's probably like a whole episode on its own.
Oh yeah, this is not getting put in this bit.
Well,
we'll see. We'll see if it works.
But like for me, like this is a reality of life in Europe in 2025. Like the powers that be have decided to put us in a position where they've exposed us to this, and not giving us the means to protect ourselves, or a police force that's capable of protecting us. People really need to take their health and fitness seriously when it comes to this stuff. Like, you don't have to be paranoid about these things, but there's a base level of fitness and like competency around physical violence that
you'd be damn sight safer if you
we're now way more exposed to than our parents or grandparents' generation. And it's you don't even have to like be putting yourself in these positions. You could be like at a Christmas market or in a shopping centre, and something happens. And these are very real situations.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Happening
and more frequent.
All across Europe. The ones in Sydney and Australia last year were horrific.
I've seen the one you posted recently. Was it Germany?
Augsburg, Augsburger.
Yeah,
2-year-old and a 41-year-old killed.
Yeah, it's fucking insane.
Yeah, if you look at the stats in the UK as well, it's horrific. These things, and they also are not happening behind closed doors anymore. Not that makes it any better, and you should also be prepared for that to be too.
But it's very much in your face. Like
and if you're not fit and you're not strong, to a point,
percentage of survival.
You don't even know. Like fighting is not the aim of the game here. Most people are never going to be in a position where they're going to actively like be technically able to fight someone. But if you can't get yourself and your loved ones
survived
in a position that makes you more likely to survive or come out unscathed, like that's rough. And the only way that you're going to be able
pretty much just hoping that nothing bad happens.
That's exactly what you're doing. You're shutting your eyes, and that's what people have been doing for the past 25 years. This problem, they've been closing their eyes and being like, "Won't happen to me. Won't happen to me. Won't happen to me. Won't happen to me." But like, if you're fitter, you're faster, you're more aware. Your body can take in oxygen better. Like you're gonna have a better chance of survival.
You're basically harder to kill.
Absolutely.
What I tell a lot of people, and it's, joking aside, it's real.
Yeah, it's all thing like it's great. You talk to people about these situations, and they're like, "Oh, if I was out with my kid, I'd just like pick up my kid and run away." I'm like,
would you though?
When was the last time you picked up a toddler and went for a sprint?
When was the last time you picked up 25 kilo?
Like what if you got 2 kids? Which one are you leaving behind? Like I know, I hear from most people have favourites, right? But like that's that's going to be a hard one to explain.
When you can't think as well, because you're not ever been exposed to that situation.
And like
what are you going to do?
People should not be exposed. That's the key point. People should not be exposed to these situations. And it's not something I want to push too hard. Is like you need to prepare for these eventualities. But if you're not fit, like the world's a fucking scary place.